980 WCAP. Mitch. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm sorry, Mitch. I haven't even said your word for helping produce the show today. Like, I'm a bad person. Bad Froggy.
Gotta give the producers love, man.
You gotta, man. Like,
of course, they don't book guests for you.
I do what he does, and trust me, you know, they're the ones working the magic over there. You don't want to mess with them. So
behind every good talk show host is a good producer.
Exactly. See, you know, yeah. Frogmans Recovery Show is sponsored by Clean Slate, located on 170 Main Street. They provide medication-assisted treatment, Vivitrol, Suboxone, outpatient therapy, and, one-on-one therapy. So call 781-348-9041. Ask for Mike. Tell him you heard it from the Frogmans Recovery Show, or go to cleanslatecenters.com. We're here in studio with three-time Super Bowl champ, Ted Johnson. He's taking some time out of his day to come tell his story and with addiction and stuff.
Can I make one point that just crossed my mind?
Sure.
That I think is important for people who are struggling with addictions to understand. Like, in this world, there's a lot of fakeness and phoniness and inauthenticity. And I think it's hard for people. Like I said, I think a lot of people who struggle with addiction are, for the most part, they try to be are real and authentic and straight shooters. And that's why I love the therapeutic environment, because it's real talk.
Yeah.
All right? I mean, so you and I are sitting here rapping, we got people listening, and we're talking. You and I are getting real, and we just met.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I'm telling you about my son, and you're and
in the real world, people they don't converse like this.
Nope.
And so it's a very...
and they have meetings for everything, too.
Right,
so.
Right. But it's I think, again, it's for people... I think struggle mightily with addiction are usually the sensitive, the thoughtful, the caring, the kind type of people. Even though maybe sometimes their behavior doesn't reflect that. I think deep down that's kind of who they are. In a world that's not like that at all. No. And so I always can appreciate and really enjoy the therapeutic setting. Even though we're doing a talk show, this is a therapeutic setting for us.
Yeah.
You know, we're sharing our stories.
You only need one person for a meeting.
That's it. So I really enjoy that part of meeting other addicts.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
You bet.
You know, I'm sure you don't live right down the street, so thank you for
happy
doing
to be
this,
here,
bud. So we got two phone calls. We're going to start off with Tim from Drake It. What's going on, Tim?
How we doing, guys?
Doing one.
First, I just want to get a couple things out of the way. Ted, love hearing you back locally. You know,
thank you.
As far as hearing you on the FM dial, I would prefer you be on the other sports radio station, but I'll take what I can get.
I hear you, bud.
As far as, showing up at WCAP, I think that's huge. You know, it might not be the greatest in-house studio, but it is the strongest signal north of Boston, and you guys are giving the strongest message,
Thank you.
So
I appreciate
very
that.
Important. Absolutely. And I really have a question. Actually, I just want to hear your perspective on what I'm not hearing at all nationally. Obviously, you have the big issue of CTE and everyone addressing that, right now and trying to change that culture in the NFL. My question is why haven't more national mediums presented the fact that this issue is only, I feel as though it goes hand in glove with the performance-enhancing drugs that a lot of these players were taking. And everyone knows when you come off of steroids, especially the big guys, that it has the same symptoms, depression, and it has the same symptoms of when you are drawn to drug addiction. And that being said, I think it's not just the brain injury, but it's that coinciding with the coming off of these performance-enhancing drugs, that they're no longer in the NFL. They're no longer taking all of these drugs. It's basically a cocktail, a garden salad of drugs. And it's the same symptoms. Not only are they not taking these drugs anymore that give you the same symptoms of what they're saying CTE does, but I think it's not just CTE. Real quick, good Lord, what's his... I can't think of his name, but Kathy Lee Griffin.
Oh,
her
yeah.
husband, which is
Yeah. Oh, God.
right. It's escaped. Real
Gifford.
quick,
Frank
I just
Gifford.
wanna say-
Frank Gifford.
Yes, thank you. But when they cut him open, he had the same exact visual symptoms of CTE, but none of the physical. Like he had still had all of his faculties with him,
Right.
and it never affected him. And I just want to say that I think it's a fact that all these players are having brain injuries combined with all
the PEDs.
performance-enhancing
Well,
drugs.
all right, Tim.
I just want to. I'll let you guys go. I just want to hear your response.
All right,
Thank
Tim.
you.
Well, thanks
Thank-
for the kind words, Tim. And I think this might surprise you because you got it. You have in your mind that it's a foregone conclusion. Guys are abusing PEDs. I'll be honest with you. I never saw steroids in the NFL, and I think that's going to be a shock to Tim and Drake it because we're tested.
Yeah.
We're tested multiple
See,
times.
it's different than baseball because baseball they
used to
wanted
not,
it.
they used to not test it until 2003. The NFL implemented very strong drug testing in 1989 for steroids.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, steroids are not that now. Is human growth perhaps, testosterone perhaps, but they test for it now, and so they'll get you.
Yeah.
So it's really the guys that struggle after football. It isn't because they're coming off of PEDs. It's are guys maybe cutting corners, probably, you know, and they get busted. I mean,
do
you
they
see
have withdrawals from PED?
it's not anything that I know much of.
See, I don't.
What,
I don't
what
either.
guys have withdrawals from is the game.
Yeah.
Not being able to play the game,
Yeah.
and then all the things that come from not being able to play, and the troubles at home, the way people around you change and how they treat you different. So there's withdrawals from not being the guy, and so they say when the lights go off, a lot of guys that's when they struggle. But the CTE part of it, Tim, is that they're at the very beginning of understanding what this is. And the symptoms that are attached to it. The hardest thing about CTE, and a lot of people think CTE is something that you can test in the living. It's only post-mortem.
Yeah.
You can only test someone's brain for CTE after they
Watch
are
the
dead.
movie Concussion. Do you ever see
Right.
that? That was a great movie.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's,
Well, I
it's-
lived it, so I don't.
Yeah,
I
you don't really need to. So.
But I will say, I just did. I think the PEDs in football, that is an overblown narrative. Believe it or not, they test so much for that you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
So there's
if they test for marijuana and all this other stuff, I have
They
to
test
think,
for street drugs.
They got Edelman.
Once.
Who knows what it was?
Yeah,
when
who
he was
knows?
taken.
Right.
So there's so many new PED stuff out there that it
guys are always going to maybe look to cut corners, but steroids.
and just because somebody's built doesn't mean they're on
That's
steroids.
right. And I think
too.
that's where a lot of people guys work hard.
Yeah.
Guys work really hard to get in the NFL. I worked really hard, lifted weights very hard, trained very hard. Okay, and I never took steroids.
Yeah.
And I played 10 years in the NFL. So a lot of guys, most guys are like that.
Yeah.
If you're taking PEDs, you will get caught.
Yep. Especially nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go right down the line. We got Dennis from Lowell. What's going on, Dennis?
Hello, good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good evening.
Mr. Johnson, thank you for great personal testimony.
You bet, buddy. My pleasure.
That's very brave of you to speak about your personal addictions.
Thank you.
I think it'd be very helpful to a lot of people. You kind of answered one of my questions. I had two questions. One was about, because of all the adulation a pro football player gets, how much does it contribute when you're no longer playing ball, contribute to like a void, a need for a substitute for that excitement in the game?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great point, because the adulation is a drug in a sense. The adulation, the way people treat you, that you are, you are
god.
godlike.
Yeah.
That is a drug. And when you are not treated that way, I think there is withdrawals. I think it's a very real thing.
It really is.
It's a very real thing, and guys will, I think, to get that juice, to get that, to get that feeling of they're on top of. Don't kid yourself. I mean, like the amphetamines gave me a little bit of that artificial.
feeling.
It's an artificial way of manufacturing that kind of juice, if you will. And when you don't have that, you're not playing anymore. It's very hard to get that.
When I was going on tour, like I was telling you, in the band. Like I said, it wasn't a huge band, but we were signed and stuff. And I went on a U.S. tour. I didn't drink. I didn't do drink. I didn't do drugs. My adrenaline came from on the stage.
I believe that.
You know, and I
same
didn't-
for football. Yeah.
And look, let me tell you something. I was single at the time. Whatever, you know, whatever, a groupie, whatever. Let me tell you something. When I came home, I relapsed. I relapsed. My ego, you know.
Sure.
Ego.
Sure. And here's the thing. They talk about what do they call it? They call it performance-based esteem.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, in particular, get their self-esteem through their performance in whatever job it is. So that's why it's very important, you know, for a lot of men. They have these jobs that where they feel like they're significant, that they matter, that they are making an impact, that they are kind of put up on a pedestal. You know, so a job is very important, particularly for a guy, because a lot of his self-esteem is kind of derived through that job.
So, Dennis, do you have another one?
The second question was, because of your professional football status, was your behavior and addiction kind of excused?
My addiction didn't start till after football.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's the thing, Dennis, is like sometimes I wonder how does somebody have an addiction while they're playing professional?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think that used to be very prevalent in the NBA. There was guys back in the 80s when cocaine was very...
Yes.
And so there were guys that were playing
What's
on...
his name from Boston?
I knew you were going to ask.
Get his name.
I forget his name, too. Everybody out there in their cars... are
Sly Williams.
Yeah, that too. But there was another one.
There's another...
I know who you're talking about, because I'll just tell you,
The guy
I used to work with the Celtics at camps, Casey Jones camps and stuff, and Jerry Sheesting told me about one player that actually put a needle up his rear end.
Okay,
Oh.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
I've never done that. That's a yet.
Okay, I'll try and think of his name.
Thanks
for the
Dennis.
call. Yeah, I just...
Thank you.
One of them that they drafted that was supposed to take over from when Larry Bird left. He died before he even started playing. I can't believe I forget these guys' names. Oh, go ahead.
Len Bias.
There
There
we
you go.
go.
But what
Thank
was
you.
there was
Lenny Bias.
a white basketball player that had a story come out. He was he used to get TD Garden used to get drugs driven to him. Do you remember his name?
I can't think of his name.
Oh my God, I can't remember.
But you just don't hear that anymore. It's very difficult to play at the highest level of sports, and while also trying to have a drug addiction. It's just I almost think it's impossible nowadays. It's too demanding. There's too many people watching. If you remember, it was at Hamilton, the baseball player for the Texas Rangers.
Heron. Chris Heron.
Chris Heron. There you go.
My dad just texted me.
Chris Heron.
Yeah, literally someone just called in and said it too.
Yeah.
So but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right? You don't hear about athletes today as much. It's just there's too many people watching. It will be out there on social media.
Oh, big time.
If you're an alcoholic and you're out drinking, people are going to see you. If you're, doing drugs, people will say something. So it's very difficult to, have being an addict and then also trying to play a sport at the highest level. You're going to get caught.
Especially something like heroin and
You just
even
don't think you
alcohol.
should-
You get
You can't do
withdrawals from that stuff.
Well, but
See,
you're-
cocaine is more mental a little bit, but
A little bit, yeah.
I wanted to get we have we don't have more time, right?
Yeah, no, we're
Gotta
about,
go.
you gotta wrap.
All right, you want to get the music rolling there, buddy? No, so yeah, we didn't get into the Josh Gordon thing, but the marijuana thing we touched base on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that medically it should be able to be used medically. I'm not saying every day like sit back at home with your homies
Sure.
and smoke, but I'm saying medically.
Cannabis can be a healing thing, not about getting
It doesn't
high.
have to exactly.
Right.
Like, it's not something that's gonna make me steal from my parents like I used to. I'm not gonna steal my kids' stuff and sell it.
I would agree
I've
with
never
you.
heard of somebody stealing from their family because of marijuana.
I would agree with you. There's a lot of people in the addiction community that would say, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
That it's Pandora's box.
But-
So not everybody's going to agree with how you and I feel about
But the thing
cannabis.
is it's either that or you go to pills.
Right.
What's worse? So either way, thank you all for tuning in to the Frogmans Recovery Show, and thank you, Ted, for coming in.
Frogman,
man.
enjoyed it, buddy.
Hopefully we can get you back on again.
Best of luck to you,
Yeah,
pal.
thank you. You too. And again, 980 WCAP next Monday from 7 to 8, Frogman's Recovery Show. Right now, it's the Chelmsford Debate on 980 WCAP. Thank you all.